This is a short story about a very big change. The story of today's climate began a long time ago. This graphic shows the planet's average temperature in the last 65 million years. 50 million years ago, the planet was 13 degrees Celsius warmer than it is today. Antarctica, right at the South Pole, was covered with semi-tropical ecosystems teeming with life. Over the next 16 million years, the planet cooled by about 8 degrees Celsius. Below a certain temperature threshold, all the year-round warmth isn't enough to melt all the winter snowfall, and glaciers start to grow. The glacier that covers Antarctica today began to form about 37 million years ago, partly due to cooling and partly because the ocean around the continent isolated it thermally. Over the next 30 million years, the planet's climate experienced little change. But 5 million years ago, the cooling trend started again. This graph shows Earth's average temperature in the last 5 million years. 3 million years ago, climate became unstable, with variations of up to 8 degrees Celsius in short periods of time. Climate instability is caused by growing glaciers. Water, soil, and vegetation absorb solar radiation, warming the planet. Ice reflects it. There is a positive feedback between glaciers and cold. Colder temperatures create more glaciers. More glaciers reflect more solar radiation, which makes the planet even colder. Scientists have discovered that small changes in Earth's orbit and its axis tilt, what we will call astronomical cycles, affect how much solar heat the planet receives. These cycles didn't cause ice ages before, but once a certain temperature threshold was crossed, glaciers started to grow, generating ice ages. The following graph shows the deviation of the temperature in Antarctica with respect to today's. In the last 800,000 years, Earth has gone through an ice age roughly every 100,000 years. Ice ages usually end suddenly with a rapid warming, giving way to a short interglacial period like the one we're living in now. These warm periods last about 10,000 years on average. Then the planet cools again for about 90,000 years, leading to another ice age. At the end of the last ice age, all of Canada was covered in ice. The North Polar ice sheet reached as far south as what is now New York City. So much water was trapped in glaciers that sea levels dropped over 120 meters compared to today. A land bridge between Asia and Alaska became visible, which allowed humans to cross into the Americas about 17,000 years ago. Genetic evidence suggests that humans vanished from Europe during this time. Modern Europeans seem to descend from people who lived in regions less affected by the extreme cold. Earth's unstable climate can collapse if the planet keeps cooling. Glaciers could grow to the point that not enough heat would be absorbed globally to melt the winter snowfall. Glaciers will grow more and more each year without end. Most of the planet would be buried by ice, generating the greatest mass extinction in Earth's history. There's evidence that similar events happened at least 3 times in the distant past, when life was far less diverse than it is today. What is cooling the planet? The drop in atmospheric carbon dioxide. Just as rising CO2 level causes warming, decreasing it causes cooling. About 50 million years ago, when the average global temperature was 13 degrees Celsius higher than today, CO2 atmospheric concentration was around 1600 ppm. By the end of the last ice age, when temperatures were 6 degrees Celsius lower than today's, CO2 levels have dropped to 180 ppm. Then it raised up to 280 ppm before industrial times. Today it is 420 ppm as a consequence of burning fossil fuels. The last ice age ended around 12,000 years ago. Every human civilization has developed during the current interglacial period, thanks to the relatively stable and mild climate. But since interglacials usually last around 10,000 years, it's worth asking, when would the next ice age begin? The cooling phase of the current astronomical cycle might have started 700 years ago. The Little Ice Age began in the mid-1300s and lasted until the late 1800s. The cold weather severely affected agriculture and human societies during those centuries. Most glaciers grew to sizes not seen since the last ice age. Interestingly, this cold period ended just as the use of fossil fuels started to rise. Today's biggest environmental concern is how the use of fossil fuels will impact Earth's climate. To understand it better, we should rewind Earth's clock to the last time CO2 levels were as high as today's. It is thought that it happened around 14 million years ago, when glaciations were well ahead in the future. The conclusion is simple: ice ages will not return, and the planet is not headed toward a global freeze. Yes, we've triggered climate change. However, we should reconsider whether it was good or bad for our planet. Did we save life on Earth by burning fossil fuels?